Hello everyone, it's me, the Law Boss here, back again with another video. Now, I know I've barely uploaded, and I know I'll get onto that, just stuff's been busy at the moment, and I'm trying to get onto a regular upload schedule. So today, with the sort of recent release of 3rd edition of Age of Sigmar, we got a new Stormcast Eternals battle line of the Vindictor just here. So, today I thought we're going to compare the 3 main melee battle line of the Stormcast Eternals, which is our Liberator, Vindictor, and Sequitor. Now, before you go at me and say, but Sequitors can only be run if your Evocator Lord is your Warlord as battle line. Well, too bad. It's a battle line option. There you go. We're going to be comparing it. So today we're going to compare it against 3 targets. Oh, 2 targets. Yeah, because I'm not chucking these guys up against a monster. So we're going to compare it to first off, a Chaos Warrior. Why did I take ages to think of that? And when I go and get the model, we'll compare it to a Chaos Sorcerer Lord. I would do a Chaos Lord, but those guys are really fighty, and will probably wipe these dudes out in 1 turn. So a Sorcerer Lord is not only a character, but it also is, it's not going to potentially one-shot all these dudes here. We'll run these in their Sergeant form, because you can still get a good idea of how they run, and the Sergeants all they really do is get an extra attack. The Sequitor Prime just gets +1 to hit. So without further ado, let's get into all of them fighting a Chaos Warrior. Right, so first off we have the Liberator. So we are just going to start off with this dude in combat because he has no potential range. We'll begin to that in a second now. So, the Sergeant will be getting a base of 3 attacks with his Grand Hammer. They only get 2 base, which is strange, so let us roll. Hitting on the 4s, so that is 2 hits with him. And he's wounding on 3s with his hammer. That is 1 wound. Now, before we get into this, we are going to be looking at their base loadouts. So no weapon upgrades such as the Grand Hammers for the Sequitors or the blades for the Stormcast Eternal Liberators, because A, I don't know the bladed models, and B, it's just their base loadout. And I don't know, the hammers are just way more aesthetically pleasing. So now the Chaos Warrior will fight back, but misses for all rules purposes. So now the Liberator will fight again, scoring 1 hit this time, but also scoring a wound. So that will actually kill a Chaos Warrior. So he can do it in 2 turns of melee combat. So next up, we have the second battle line to be released for the Stormcast, which is the Sequitors. Now, for the Sequitors, these guys actually have a little bonus rule that can happen in the shooting phase, which is called the Redemption Cache, which the Sergeant does have, for rules purposes. It's a free upgrade for the Sergeants, and they actually default come with it. So at the start of the shooting phase, he rolls a dice, and on a 4+, that Chaos dude takes a mortal wound. That was a 2, so nothing would happen. Now he can charge. Yeah, he's definitely in. So now, at the start of the phase, they have something called Sequitor Etheric Channeling, which allows them to either reroll hit rolls of 1, or just reroll hit rolls for attacks, or reroll save throws. So for this, we just want our damage output here. We are going to do the more better rerolls for your hits. So the Sergeant gets 2 attacks with the standard hammer, but hitting on 2s, and oh no, it does get an extra attack, my bad. Hitting on 3s. That was 1 hit, and 1 wound. So that would actually hurt this dude. Will save for all rules purposes, they failed their saves. So now, the Chaos Warrior would fight back, but we'll say it misses. So shooting phase occurs again, does not occur. So this would also take him on average about 2 turns to kill a standard infantry for other armies. I'm using the Chaos Warrior here, it's the most generic stat line and generic weapons, so sweet as. Cool, so we still have the Vindictor to go. Now let's have a look at how he fares. Now he will say we're in combat because he has no shooting or ranged abilities. The Sergeant, I think, will be getting a base stat of 3 attacks. So let's just have a look here. I'm basing this off the brand new rules from the Dominion box set. So the Sergeant gets 3. We will not be taking into account any other upgrades. So he gets 3 attacks, only one of which hits. That was 5 for anyone wondering. And that is no wounds. So the Chaos Warrior would fight back. We would say it would fail to hurt. So, now a new rule is kicked in. At the start, if an unmodified hit roll is 6, he takes a mortal wound. So it is instead of damage? Yes, it is. So only 1 hits, but that fails to wound. We will fight again. So there's 2 hits and 1 wound. So once again, because the other time completely whiffed, it would take around 2 phases for this guy to do a significant amount of damage to kill a 2 wound infantry. That is rolling very averagely, with mostly 5s to hit. But if you roll really lucky and get triple 6s, you are putting down even 3 wound opponents in combat, which is quite nice. So now we go to the character fighting. So who does the most damage against the character? So we'll start with the Stormcast Eternal Liberator Sergeant. Now he gets a little spicy rule against characters, whereas the sequitor before would get rules against chaos. This guy has an ability called Lay Low the Tyrants, where he gets +1 to hit against characters with 5 or more wounds, and Exalted Heroes have 5 wounds. So let us get into that right now. So we have 3 attacks, 2 of which hit, and 2 of which wound. We will say for rules purposes he fails his hits. Now we'll say this guy can fight back because characters will usually do the job in killing these guys. So he grabs. That is a flat 2 mortal wounds, which will put this guy down. So if I hadn't rolled so lucky, we will do a hypothetical. He's going to get put down in 1 turn by this guy, regardless. So usually he can chip off 2 to 3 wounds off a smaller character. Righto, now we have the sequitor. So at the start of the shooting phase, he is a chaos character, and he successfully mortal wounds him, but we will ignore special rules for now. For the character, we just want to make this guy as generic as possible. So he charges, he gets 3 attacks, 2 of which hit, and none of which wound. Now the character would fight back, grabbing a whopping 5 hits this time around, and putting them down, sadly. So right now the Liberator looks like to be the one who's actually dealing the most damage, due to that to hit bonus. The mortal wound would have been nice, but doing 1 mortal wound compared to flat 2 damage, it's hit or miss. And now we go on to the Vindictor. So he will charge into combat, get 3 attacks, which are hitting on 3s. So he has scored 1/6 to hit, which will mortal wound, plus 1 extra hit, and 1 extra wound. We will say for the rules purposes he fails his save, chipping off 2 damage. So that's 2 hits from the big boy, and 1 wound, which he tanks. So already we can come to the conclusion, unless he whiffs, which he does not, he actually is going to be dealing the most damage by the looks of things. So that's, yeah, I don't think this guy will be surviving. Nope. So actually, the Vindictor, surprisingly, does the most damage against characters. I was actually very surprised by this, because he doesn't really have any good rules to counter characters like Liberators do, which have Lay Low the Tyrants. So that's actually very surprising to me. So that's going to do it for this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this style. I'm just testing it out, testing the waters. So I hope you enjoyed. So if you do, like and subscribe. I know that with 40k and dice rolling games, it can go either way. You can completely whiff, or you can completely annihilate your opponent, such as the Liberator just hitting like a champ, the sequitor always getting off its mortal wound pop, or the Vindictor always getting its 6s to mortal wounds with its attacks. Also, with other upgrades such as Grand Hammers and things, this could change again. I'm just going off base models and base stat lines. These are also the easiest models to acquire, hence making them, the most common to see on the battlefield. Hope you enjoyed. We're doing a character one next time. I'm sorry if this was not the style you enjoy. It's essentially doing math hammer on screen, but it's always nice to see people actually rolling the dice and not just leaving it to a calculator. So I hope you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.